Hi guys, welcome to the second session in our logo bootcamp. I believe you enjoyed the last session. It was amazing. Like I said, this is a bootcamp and I want to be detailed. Okay, that's why you see that the videos are quite long. Okay, but if you are patient enough at the end of this bootcamp, trust me, you're going to become a very good logo designer. Okay, you get to know the terms that we have in logo designs. You get to be used to them. Okay, that is why I would want you to pay good attention. You guys might not get to see Illustrator now, but certainly we are going to get into Illustrator. If you do not get this background, there's no way. That's the mistake most people make. They tend to ignore the background and just jump to having the skill. Okay, in further sessions we are going to get to enter into Illustrator. Okay, so I want you to be patient and take this course gradually. Okay, take it gradually. If you have to repeat, then you repeat the session. So today we are going to continue from where we stopped. And last time we stopped at characteristics of a logo. And I think the first characteristic was that a logo has to be unique. Okay, a logo has to be unique. And the second is that a logo must be flexible or adaptable. You have to think about the logo working. That's what we mean by the logo being flexible. Okay, we have some logo, they are very good on paper, they are nice on paper, but when the brand gets to print it on certain surfaces, it loses meaning. That shows you that the logo is not flexible. The logo has to be adaptable. Okay, most brands might move digital. Okay, like every brand is doing now. Some brands might get to move to a digital level, a digital arena. Put that in mind. Most people just design logos without thinking about the future of the brand. Okay, some brands they have products. Okay, they have products. Sometimes it might be an app. Sometimes it might be an electronic product like a mobile phone or whatever, maybe a TV or something else. Is your logo going to be adaptable? Is it going to be adaptable with how the brand is shifting? Because some brands, you meet them in a particular state, the next time they are going to be in another state, they might just expand. Okay, is that your logo going to expand with them, or is it going to diminish? Do you get? Is it going to diminish? That is what makes logo to stand the test of time. You must have noticed it that not all logos can stand the test of time. So only flexible logos can stand the test of time. That's why some brands, when they are expanding, they tend to throw away their logo and just create a new one that would follow what they are currently doing. So for flexible logos, it will not be that easy to dump. Okay, that's one thing I want you to know. So a logo should be flexible and adaptable. So the next characteristic is a logo should be simple. I know this is very hard to take, especially by some clients, but it is your duty to let them know. So you don't want to pack your logo with lots of elements, trying to describe what the brand does and things like that. I think I'm going to get into that in further sessions. Okay, your logo has to be simple, because if it's simple, it will be adaptable. Okay. And the next one we have here is that a logo should be memorable. I think this is like the most important. Okay, you don't want to make a logo and at the end of the day you have lots of elements. No matter how beautiful it is, if it is not easy to remember, then it is not worth it. Okay, so you have to make sure that your logo is easy to remember, because you might go into, let me say, supermarket for instance, and there are different products. It might be a beverage. So we have Bonvita, we have the rest brands, we have Milo and the rest. So if you look at them and imagine you are not able to remember what you want to buy, you are not able to remember the logo of what you want to buy, you will see other brands that are there. And that's why brands do this all the time. They do adverts and everything just to make you remember the brand. Most times they use songs just for you to remember the brand very easily. So when you want to make options, you get to pick the brand. Sometimes I wonder why they do adverts, because most times it looks as if they are just throwing away money. But this is their intention, to get you to remember the brand by all means. So you watching the advert for the first time, they are not even considering getting you. When the advert continues to repeat, and it gets into your mind, gets into your subconscious. Sometimes when you want to make a decision, you just subconsciously make that decision and you don't know that the brand has done something to you. So the same thing can be done by the logo. Do you get? So your logo must be memorable. Type of logos. When you want to make a logo, what will determine the type of logo you use should be based on what the brand represents, based on the values of the brands. Okay, that will help you determine the type of logo to use. You don't just do random picking. You don't just, okay, I want to make a logo for a brand, and the next thing you are doing, okay, which one should I pick? Which one should I pick to use? Which of the type of logo should I go with? You don't do that, okay? It's the brand or the brief that will inform you on the type of logo to go ahead with, okay? And I'll be sharing some reasons why you should go with some type of logos and some reasons why you should not. The first one we have is a word mark, okay? A word mark. So what is a word mark? This logo consists of the company or brand name written in a unique and stylized font. Examples include Coca-Cola and Gogo, okay? Coca-Cola and Gogo. So this is a logo that contains a particular word, okay, that the brand wants it to be associated with, okay? So this is not, or this cannot be used for all scenarios, okay? There are some times that the brand wants to project their name. So in such case, you should consider using a word mark, okay? For instance, the word Coca-Cola, I would use this for example. The word Coca-Cola, I think I was reading about the history of how it came about. It has some heritage. So the person that made the logo, how to work with this, you get, it has some heritage. And one of the things was that the substance that was used to form, although it's still argued, right? The substance that was used to form Coca-Cola at the beginning, it was not even a drink, you get, but the substance that was used to form it, some people argue that it was cocaine. So most times you can see the Coca-Cola, you get. So the name has some kind of heritage. It was mixed with cola, but later they found that, I think they went to do research and found out that it was not made from cocaine, do you get? But that is still argued till now, that was why the man gave it this name. So when you see names like that, they have heritage, and the brand may want to push such names. So most times you consider using a word mark. And sometimes the brand might want to push out a particular name and the name does not sound good. Do you get? So you have to, most times you tell your client, okay, this name does not sound very good. There's a way you can just coin it to sound very good. But sometimes some names will just sound very good. So you should know that, okay, let me use a word mark because it will be easy to remember. Just imagine the word Coca-Cola. It sounds very good. Or imagine Google, just 2 syllables. Do you get? Most times the syllables are too much. It will not work, okay? You should not consider using a word mark. So that's just it. You find the word that the brand wants to associate themselves with and the word they want to push, okay? That might be a strategy, or maybe it might be a sales strategy. Do you get? It might be a sales strategy. And once you work with the word mark, it just seems to work very, very fine. And I hope you guys are following. If you have a question, just even on the comment section, you can put it on the comment section, or if it's here on Zoom, you can just put it down. Then when we are done with everything, then you ask. So that's how we do our routine. When we are done with everything, you ask. If you've not yet joined the Telegram group, you have to do so, okay? Otherwise, you put your questions under and we'll see to it that we answer those questions, okay? So I'll move further to the next logo type we have. We have the letter mark / monogram, okay? So these logos use initials or a monogram of the company name to create a distinct and memorable design. Okay, some examples includes IBM and HBO. Okay, IBM and HBO. So most times this is used by brands with long names. Have you ever seen any brand with a very long name? If you are into logo design, sometimes client might just bring a name that is very long, and sometimes it can upset. Sometimes some kind of traditional names they are very, very long. One of the solutions to that is that you can use a letter mark. Okay, you can use the initials. Okay, I've met with clients that brought names that were so long, and I saw that it was important for them to add those things. So what I did was just I advised them, okay, let's shorten it. Let's use initials. Let's work with a letter mark. And at the end of the day, they saw why we did it that way, and it worked for them. Okay, if you have any, you can put it on the comment section. If you have any other brands, because I'm not stating all of them here, certainly. So we have IBM. IBM is just an acronym. Okay, it's not the name of the brand, the entire name. If you go to research now, you find out that it's not the entire name. Okay, there are some like NASA, for instance. It's National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So just imagine you calling that name. So lettermark saves you the stress of trying to remember a very long name. So it is very good to create a memorable brand. Just imagine, say, I went to National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Just imagine you just mentioning that very often. It will not be very good, not very easy to mention often. So it can make people forget. So you just stick to a letter mark, okay? Stick to a letter mark that will stand out. And with that, you can create a very strong monogram, okay? Very strong monogram. So if you have other logos that are letter mark that I didn't mention, you can just put it down there. Another one is CNN. I think CNN means Cable News Network. Well, it's not even a unique word. We just have cable, news, and network. Those are just simple words. So if you want to make it more memorable, you now use something that represents it, like the initials, okay? That's what we call a letter mark, CNN, okay? CNN. So for CNN that wants to, I know that's the media company, so they always want to penetrate. They want to penetrate the systems. So for them to be easily remembered, because we have quite a lot of media companies, for them to be easily remembered, they had to use a letter mark. Easily remembered, because those words, like I said, they are very common words: cable, news, and network. So I'm giving you tips that you can use to advise your clients. So all these things we are saying is you that is responsible. You are the one responsible for giving your client this message that this is why this can't work. This is why we have to use a letter mark. This is why we have to use this. This is why we have to use it. Then you can give them examples, okay? Give them examples. Most times people can complain and say, okay, my client is very stubborn and things like that. But you have to narrow that gap they have, because sometimes they are not creative persons. They do not have these wild imaginations like creative. So you narrow that gap by telling them about brands. Telling them about brands that already exist, popular brand that already exists. You can tell them, okay, this brand is using this and it's working for them and things like that. And at the end, they are likely to consider what you are bringing to the table. So we have another one, symbols, okay? This is a very modern approach. Everybody is going simple. Like the previous time, we mentioned some brands that are moving to being very simple. And one example is MTN. Have you noticed the new MTN logo? I think we talked about it the last time. It's super simple, annoyingly simple. So sometimes some person that might be ignorant might just look at it and say, what kind of logo is this? Logo that will just draw one circle and draw MTN. Everybody's going simple and it's advantageous, okay? He said that symbols are logos that use a recognizable symbol to represent the brand, okay? Example include the Apple logo and the Nike swatch. I think last time somebody was asking a question in the bootcamp. I think our first session was asking if it is compulsory to add an inscription to the logo, and I told him Apple was not having an inscription, does not have an inscription on it, okay? So if you look at this logo, especially these versions we have here, you won't find Apple. Is there anything like Apple under? No. It's because the symbol is already representing it. So symbols is a very modern approach, and it is very good when it comes to making logos flexible, okay? We're talking about flexibility when we're talking about the characters of a logo, flexibility. Do you know that the one that works best, that can make your logo very flexible, is when you use a symbol? Imagine like Apple, for instance. Apple owns phones, right? They own laptops. Apart from the fact that they want to brand maybe their office environment, they want to have branded t-shirts like that. They would appear in different media spaces. Apart from those things, they have products, and that is their major focus. So they want to put their mark on their product, because every brand want to have their logo on their products, so that it shows that they were the one that created that or developed that particular product, okay? And I will tell you that it's not all logos that can work on products. There's what we call embroidery. It's not all logos that can be embroidered on products. For instance, I think I made a video on the NASA logo, okay? The NASA logo lacks this. It is barely flexible because of some elements that were added in it, which made it less simple. And one simple way to test if your logo is simple, I'll just give you straight ahead, is to put it in black and white. If you put your logo in black and white and it does not lose any information and the elements are still intact, then you know that your logo is very flexible. And that's most times when you have the Apple in black and white, you have this Nike swatch in black and white, it loses nothing, Okay, it loses nothing. It makes your logo is highly flexible. I think I did a video on that. You can check the video out. Okay, can your logo pass this test? I think I did a video on that. You can check that out to get more information. Okay, so that's it for symbols. So move to the next one. We have mascots. So what really are mascots? So it said these logos feature a character or a mascot that represents the brand's personality or values. So example includes, a very vivid example is the KFC Colonel Sanders being used as the logo. Okay, there are some characteristics of mascots I would like to let you know, so you know when to use it or not. Okay, there are some scenarios where the company wants to pass heritage. Okay, like this now they are using the face of the owner. Okay, and then I think there are some stories behind this thing, how he got his recipe and how the no one knows the recipe, things like that. So there can be some stories behind the brand that would need you to pass the heritage, okay, across. That will need to pass the heritage across. In such case, you can't work with symbols. Symbols will not do justice to it. Okay, they will not do justice to it. So in such case, you have to consider using a mascot. First of all, you listen to the story the brand is telling. Some brands can just put a squirrel there as their logo. Most times when they tell you the story, it has to do with a squirrel. Maybe the owner owned the squirrel and things like that. So in such case, you can't move to using a symbol. Even if you have to use a symbol, you have to use a squirrel. So, but for mascots, they are very illustrative. They are cartoon-like, and that is for mascots. So we'll move to the next type of logo, which is the combination mark. So this combination mark is combining a word mark and a symbol. Okay, it is used to get people to remember the brand. If you are not too sure if the symbol is going to penetrate enough, you can use a word mark that follows. This is good for brands that have not gained recognition yet. Okay, if you're a brand that have not gained recognition yet, then you have to work with a combination mark. You can just have your logo, and underneath you can have the name, like a word mark there represented. Okay, and this can help people remember the name of the brand. So with time, when the brand is established, you can just go towards using just the mark. Now we have some logos here that uses the combination pattern. Okay, we have McDonald's, and this McDonald's, you see, sometimes you might get to see only the M. Okay, that shows how flexible it is, and sometimes it's together with the word mark, which is McDonald's. Okay, I think that is amazing. And we have Adidas too. Adidas, sometimes you get to see only I think that represents a mountain. Okay, and you don't have the text sometimes, and sometimes you have them both together. Okay, so both of these brands have made their names. They can decide to remove the word mark, and you will still know that this is McDonald's. You will know that this is Adidas. Okay, but for brands that are coming up, I think most times it's good to use the combination mark. Okay, it's good to use combination mark. So that's it for that. So the last one we have is the abstract mark. I think this is very good, pertaining to you wanting the logo to be unique. Okay, it is very good. The first thing it does is that it makes your logo unique. Okay, so abstract mark, they are logos that use abstract shapes, patterns, or symbol to represent the brand without any direct association to the company name or industry. So an example is Pepsi. Okay, so sometimes you might see some brand, you might see some kind of silly symbols that just like this Pepsi. Looking at it now, just at first glance, you might say, what's this nonsense? What does this mean? But actually, it represents Pepsi. Okay, and it has some other meanings that I will tell you later on. Okay, so abstract marks are very unique in nature. There are some logos that look like some logos. Okay, I think that is because most times people might work with symbols. If you work with symbols, you work with sometimes it might even happen in mascots. Okay, but when it comes to abstract marks, you get to make a mark that is unique, completely unique, because you get to tweak the shape to a shape that is very unfamiliar. And I think that is what the logo should be. We mentioned one of the characteristics of a logo. A logo should be unique. Okay, your logo should be unique. So you have to take note of that. Take note of that. Looking at this Pepsi logo, the entire mark might not be recognizable, but looking close, there is a smile there and there is the globe. Sometimes abstract mark might look silly just at first glance, but looking good, having a good look at it, or having a deeper look at it, you see that it means something, okay? And that just gives you a smile, okay? So you can stylishly have an abstract mark and just embed the values of the brand, just encode it, the values of the brand in that mark. Though it might not be a regular shape, but at the end, when people see it, they see something, they see a value of the brand, okay? And how does this work? You have to get to know the core values of the brand for this to really work out, okay? Sometimes it's very much possible that you think of an idea and sometimes you see it elsewhere. You can avoid this by just using an abstract mark. So lastly, I think we talked about elements of a brand, and color system is amongst them. I think color is very important. The aspect that is very difficult for most persons is color, and we are going to trash it in this bootcamp, okay? At the end of this bootcamp, you are not going to be finding it difficult to use colors, okay? And I'm just going to tell you about color systems. So it can be used to communicate what the brand represents. Like I said, the logo is not the only thing that helps to support the brand. I believe we already know that from our first session. We have already established that, okay? So the color system also supports that. You have a very good solid logo that will represent the brand's value and everything, but you might not have a very good color, okay? And if you don't have a very good color, you'll be very surprised that has spoiled everything. That's why you have to know what colors to use, the exact colors that would support the values of the brand, okay? Pepsi, for a reason, chose red and blue. For a reason, they chose red and blue. I think it signifies energy. There are some colors they would have used as their main color that would make everything wrong. A very good thing to note is that brands for children are very different, okay? Brands for children are different from brands for adults. So you should think carefully on the colors you want to use, okay? Children typically like light colors. That's why you see toys and everything having these light colors, and it appeals to them. So you're not doing a brand that deals with children. You are using black as the major color. It does not work. It won't work. No matter how beautiful your mark is, once you apply that black, it will not work because it's a children brand. Same thing. There are feminine brands that require some kinds of color. An example is pink, purple. Sometimes, if you are very creative, I know nowadays there are a lot of brands with pink. But if you are very creative, there are a way you can mix colors together. Okay, and I'm going to be teaching that also in this bootcamp. I'll teach you how to mix colors so that your brand does not just go along with everybody using pink. There are some ways you can manipulate colors or mix colors together that will make it unique, not just being the normal pink everybody is using. Okay, it just distinguishes that particular brand, okay? But nevertheless, different scenarios requires different colors, okay? Sometimes you might do a scenario. For instance, you are creating a logo for a dating app. What colors should come to your mind? Red. And sometimes you don't get to use only red. You get to support it with other colors, okay? So it becomes subtle because red is a very strong color, okay? So sometimes you might use some other colors to make it subtle. And this is what I will be teaching in the remaining part of this bootcamp. Another thing you want to know is that some countries take some colors differently, okay? For instance, in Nigeria, when we see the color green and white and everything, it reminds us of independence. In some countries, you might see some colors meaning different things. So do not think that because you're in a particular country and the color means a particular thing, it means peace to you. In another country, it might mean war. So you have to do your research properly. You have to know the demographic the brand is going to be operating under. If it's a global brand, then fine. You have to consider the colors to use. But it's very important for you to know that different scenarios requires different colors, okay? I've seen some people that like certain colors and they want to use it for all the brands they are working on. That is not right. You don't force the brand to use the color you like. You do not do that. You do not do that. That is out of the way, entirely out of the way. So you have to consider making your research and see the colors that work better, okay? In future classes or in future sessions, we are going to be treating color psychology very well. So, but I want to just let you know that color has a lot to do, okay? Color systems, okay? And that's where we'll talk about color palettes and the rest, using a color palette. And you have the primary color, you have the secondary color the brand will have, okay? So you have to consider all that because all that will help to support the motion. Okay, you might have other elements supporting emotion. I mean, why the color will be going this way. Okay, the color will be going this way. Okay, so you have to properly represent that. There are some brands that want to be luxurious. Okay, they want to be luxurious, so you don't use light colors for those kind of brands. Use colors like black, gold. So color psychology tells us that black and gold is associated with luxury, so you have to take note of that. Don't go and give a brand that wants to be luxurious, you give them pink, you give them light colors. It will not support the motion. No matter how beautiful your mark is, no matter how well they say it on TV, they say everything, no, it will not push what they represent. So you have to be mindful that colors are very important. Okay, so in our next session, we're going to be treating something very important you do not want to miss. Okay, so if you have any question, just put it on the comment section and I'm going to get to answer. Okay, and I want to remind you that we are using Illustrator for this bootcamp, and hopefully in our next class, when we are done with all this, we're going to begin with Illustrator. I know all of you have been waiting for this Illustrator, but just relax. In our next class, hopefully we are going to be done and we are going to start to do Illustrator. Okay, so I want to bid you to share this course to other people, and I want you to subscribe to this channel if you want further informations. Okay, if you want further knowledge about logos and brands and how it works and other things, there are numerous contents here to teach you that. So I want you to share, tell other people that we're having a logo bootcamp, and it's free, completely free. So you can join the group. The link is down below. When you join the group, you can get the Zoom links, okay? The Zoom links. So do not fail to comment if you have a question, or you send me a DM if you have a question, and I will gladly respond to you, okay? So see you on our next session.